Hey folks, welcome back to the Tower Tech. I hope you had a great Christmas. Very, very happy new year to you. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at all things VR, with Amazon selling out of the Oculus Rift, no doubt due to the massive discounts that Facebook were applying to these. So this video, we're going to take a look at what all of the hype is about. Let's get into it. So VR, it promises so much. It promises to put you in the center of the game, a truly immersive experience. But is it really living up to the hype? So let's take a look. So what's become relatively standard for the two main offerings of VR, that's the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift. The Rift includes two OLED displays, both stonking up at a resolution of 1080 by 1200 in each eye. That gives you a total resolution across both eyes of 2160 by 1200. So you're going to need some horsepower in your PC to drive this thing. The screen is bright and clear, as you'd expect from an OLED display, but you do get a little bit of distortion from the lenses in the headset. There's a fixed focal length in the games. I think that's about 2 meters. So as you get closer to some objects, they get blurrier. You can move your eyes around without actually turning your head quite a bit. Actually, the total size of the lenses covering your eyes is quite big, particularly as you're looking up and down. You'd be surprised how much you can actually see. A little bit less left to right, but up and down actually there's quite a degree of freedom that you can look around. And of course, then when you turn your head as well, you get, you know, essentially a 360-degree experience in all directions. The headset's really comfortable, it has to be said. It's got memory foam on the front where the HMD interfaces connects with your face. The headsets are really comfortable, really easy to adjust, and it does include a set of headphones, which the HTC Vive doesn't. They're okay, perfectly adequate for gaming, but you're going to want to swap them out for something else for a music experience. Definitely comfortable for prolonged gaming sessions. I think I've peaked out at about 9 hours. Don't judge me. And aside from some marking that you get on your forehead and around your eyes, I'd say it's pretty comfortable. It certainly didn't become uncomfortable during that gaming session. So this is definitely a peak performance point for the Oculus Rift. These things are so natural. It's unbelievable. They're just really intuitive to use. You almost forget these things are there, and the hands that you have within the VR experience become an extension of your own body. It's difficult to describe. You need to experience it really to understand what it is that I'm talking about, but I was genuinely surprised at just how intuitive and natural these things felt. It gives you a great combination of different grips that you can have, all the way from your hands closed to fully open to pointy fingers. It allows you to pick up objects, and the positioning of the trigger on the hand grip in particular, that's, I think, the secret sauce that's made these particular controllers just feel so natural. I think they are regularly cited as easily the best VR controller in the business, and I can totally understand why. They've got a neat little battery slot that's got a magnetic holder. It's arguably a bit gimmicky, but it feels nice when you put it back on. And the batteries, it takes one single AA battery per controller, and these things just last for ages. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for these. These are probably the slight downside for the Oculus Rift. You get two included in the box. Those are fine for a front-facing experience. If you're just looking at your monitor, if you're just playing things like racing games or flight sims or things like Elite Dangerous, then these, two sensors is more than adequate, but you really will need at minimum 3 of these things if you want a full room scale experience. And what I mean by full room scale experience is being able to stand up and move around and interact. Of course, you need a bit of space to do this. Now, ordering a third sensor, they're £59 from the Oculus store. I've ordered several of these, and I have to say they turn around pretty quickly. They say 3 days for shipping. I've normally had it the next day or the day after, so they're much better than their commitments on their websites. The downside of this, and this is probably where the problem starts, these things use USB 3 and the throughput is very high. If you have all of your sensors and your head-mounted display attached to your USB 3 bus, it's going to start to get flaky. It overwhelms the bus. I don't know whether it's data related or power related. I suspect it could be a combination of the both, but what you find is periodic dropouts of one of the sensors or more in the game. As that sensor drops out, it confuses the system. It doesn't know where you are in the space, and you start getting a bit of jittering in game, which is very, very immersion breaking, and at its worst can actually make you feel a bit sick. You can attach one of these sensors to USB 2, and in many instances that can start to resolve the problem. It will support a 4-sensor setup, and if you can stretch your budget to this, I do recommend it. If you're going out to 4 sensors though, you really do need to start to think about dedicated USB cards with independent controllers for each USB port. At least 1 controller per 2 ports I would recommend. We'll do a future video on that to give you a bit more detail. The sensors, I have to say, they do track well when they're working, but as I say, they are very pernickety, and just, I think that HTC Vive's implementation of this was much better. The other thing that's very aggravating about these is the cable length is very short. You can get USB extensions for these, but they are super pernickety about which cables will and won't work with them. Again, future video of that coming up. I'm not gonna lie, this was a pain. Actually, the UI is designed pretty well. It's quite pleasing on the eye, and it suggests it should be relatively intuitive to do, but the sensor setup in particular, when you're using 3 sensors, I found a real pain in the backside. As you do this more and more, and trust me, you will do it a number of times to get it working properly, you start to learn little workarounds to help you avoid the problems in the future. The Guardian system, which is the thing that effectively stops you bashing your arm into the wall or just walking into the wall, creates like a mesh wall within the game, I have to say is great. That works really, really, really well. And the Oculus Home app is also really great and really intuitive. A number of great updates that have come out of that. I do recommend that you switch on the beta versions that are available to you. They are loads better than the fully released versions, and actually I've had no problems with them at all. Moving on to the selection of games, and I'm sure you're expecting me at this point to say that there are not very many available. I'm going to fly in the face of conventional wisdom here, and I'm going to say I actually think there's a really good selection. Is it as broad in range as your garden variety PC games? Absolutely not, but there is loads available here. And the beauty of having picked the Oculus Rift over the HTC Vive is you have both the Oculus Store and the Steam Store available to you as well. Even games within the Steam Store that say that they are not compatible with the Vive, many actually are, and even those that aren't, if you've got the patience and the time to invest in getting them working, there are plenty of workarounds available to you. It's also a community that's being very actively developed for. There is a great myriad of games lined up for 2019. So, what's the experience like? And all I can say here is wow, wow, wow. I'd really started to lose interest in PC gaming, notwithstanding the fact that I'm spending quite a lot of my time creating content for YouTube. This has genuinely reignited my interest in gaming. The experience is truly immersive. If it's anything from shooting zombies to flying through space in Elite Dangerous or Star Trek Bridge Crew, all the way to immersive experiences like Apollo 11 and space simulations. You've got some great normal titles that have been ported from the PC. Some real classics like Fallout 4 and Elder Scrolls, Skyrim. Really great variety. There are also some really fantastic games that have been developed just for VR. This is where the system really starts to shine because the games have been designed to use the controllers in particular. Some of my personal favourites are The Climb, a great experience, not very arcadey, actually a game that takes a bit of patience, bit of thinking through, but some of the views are truly spectacular and it really brings out that immersive experience. You have got some arcadey type games as well that are quite good. Robo Recall is quite good fun, but quite short-lived. But I would have to say that, you know, in terms of probably the best game that I've played on this system, it's got to be the zombie game. Hands down, truly great game. Really enjoyed that thoroughly. I've lost many hours into that. And it gets your heart going in a way that normal PC gaming just doesn't anymore, when you've got a horde of zombies running at you, when you are immersed in VR and you feel like you are there. It's truly terrifying. Some great horror games on here as well for those that are not faint-hearted. Transference is a particular favourite of mine as well. I've been playing that recently. A truly original title. So what's my verdict? Well, this is a system that is growing. Amazon sold out of these things over Christmas and they are struggling to restock them at the moment. Loads of development going in, and I really do think, even with the purchase of an extra sensor and the accessories and USB cables, this really is good value for money. It's game changing, literally. Be patient with it and it's well worth it and highly recommended.